Okay, my sixth one would be teen starts selling drugs to school. No, that's the teen girl who lured boy by Snapchat to kill him.
Now, the world is full of crazy people who are always looking for a chance to pounce on you when you least expect it. Sometimes they hide so well that you don't even realize it until it's too late, like in this case. A guy thought that he was going out to meet a pretty girl that he had met on social media, but he found himself in a dangerous situation, which ended up costing his brother's life. Let's investigate the story of the teen girl who lured a boy in by Snapchat just to his brother. Elias Otero was born on November 19th, 1996, in Albuquerque, New Mexico, to
Hey,
Luis and
baby.
Alicia Otero. He had two brothers,
I'm
Jacob
older
and
than
Nicholas,
him.
and two sisters, Delilah and Elia. Elias was close to his family and described as the voice of reason for his family. He had a great sense of humor and was always trying to get others to laugh.
He wasn't just my son, he was my best friend, and we're all just really, really close, so we joked around and played around like if we were friends.
Elias was also super brave and strong and was always trying to protect everyone around him, including his younger brothers. Elias graduated from the Department of Corrections and became a corrections officer for the Metropolitan Detention for several years. At 24, Elias was doing really well in his life. He got a new job at the Postal Service, had his own place, and he and his fiancée were starting to make plans to settle down. But then, things suddenly took a drastic turn that no one saw coming. It all started when Elias's 20-year-old brother Nicholas met a girl on Snapchat. She was beautiful and charming, and he was flattered when she started chatting with him. They flirted for a while, and Nicholas thought that they had a connection. So when she asked him if he wanted to meet up, he readily said yes, not knowing the girl was actually planning for him. The girl suggested that they meet up at a local park called Alvarado Park at around 2 a.m. on February 11th, 2021, and Nicholas agreed. Nicholas picked the girl up in his red Lexus at an address she claimed was her home, and he was happy to see that she was just as pretty as her pictures. He took her to Alvarado Park, and that's when he started noticing some really weird things about her. First, she kept asking him personal questions like, where do you keep your money? Do you have any guns? That's a nice necklace. How much did you buy it for? Nicholas also noticed that the entire time they were talking, the girl had her phone on a call, and it was like someone was listening in on their conversation. That was super weird, and at this point, he decided that it was time to go back home.
Yeah,
But
it
before
is
he could
super
leave, a
weird.
car suddenly pulled up behind him, and three armed men jumped out and came over to his car and dragged him outside, while the other ransacked his car and took everything valuable that they could find, including money and jewelry. While this was going on, the girl, who he now knew had set him up, had gone to the other car. After robbing him, Nicholas thought that they would at least let him go, but sadly he was mistaken. The criminals had decided that the money that they had gotten from him was still not enough, and that they needed more. So they came up with a plan to kidnap Nicholas and ask for ransom from his brother Elias. But things didn't go down as they had planned. They put Nicholas back into his car and forced him to drive over to the house where Elias lived with the other brother. They then made him FaceTime
New
Elias and
Mexico is
told
at
him that they would kill his
Albuquerque, huh?
brother if he didn't
I've never
bring
been there. I want to go
$1,000
visit
and a
there.
gun over
But
to
what I
them.
hear it's nice
Elias,
down
who
there.
was a licensed firearm holder, was distraught when he saw his little brother being held by some lowlifes. And being a protective brother, he decided to go out and rescue Nicholas. Sadly, this did not go as he had expected. When Elias came out of the house holding his weapon and demanded that the kidnappers let his brother go or he would pull the trigger, one of the goons fired multiple times at Elias. Nicholas watched in horror as his older brother fell on the ground after being hit several times. He managed to get out of the car and rush to his brother's side as the criminals took off in different directions. Elias's sister called 911 at around 2:20 a.m. to report that her brother had been shot and that they needed an ambulance. But by the time help arrived, it was already too late. Elias was already gone. His family was completely traumatized. Nicholas, who probably felt that it was his fault for going to meet the strange girl, was crushed. One of the brothers called their mom, and she rushed there immediately, but there was nothing she could do other than to watch helplessly as her son died.
My youngest son called me screaming that my son Elias had been shot. I jumped in the car immediately. I got there in 5 minutes. I watched him die right in front of my face, and it was horrific.
The police found 3 pistols and a rifle on the ground near his body. They also found Nicholas's car wrecked a couple of blocks away. Nicholas told the police everything that had happened, including how he met the girl on Snapchat and how she kept asking him weird questions about where he kept his money, if he had a gun, and told him he liked his necklace. He told them how he realized that he was being set up when he noticed that someone was listening in on their conversation through the girl's phone, and how the 3 guys appeared and robbed him before taking him over to his brother's house. He said his 2 brothers came out of the house and Elias pointed his gun at the driver and the driver fired at him. When the detectives looked at the Snapchat account of the girl that Nicholas was talking about, they discovered that it belonged to 18-year-old Annabella Dukes. And even after what happened, Nicholas told the police that he received a text message from Annabella saying, "Are you okay? I ran. I'm still running. IDK, where to go?" The detectives pinged her phone, tracing it to the area of Alvarado Park to the homicide, and eventually the home of her 17-year-old boyfriend, Adrian Avila. The police also discovered the same movements where they pinged Adrian's phone. As
she did have a boyfriend.
They found that this was actually not the first case of its kind. These 2 criminals had actually been doing this for a while. They would use Annabella's beauty and charm to lure men so that they could be robbed by Adrian and his crew. As it turned out, Adrian was the one who had fired at Elias. On Annabella's Snapchat, detectives found some other messages between her and another man who she had allegedly carjacked a day earlier using the same tactics that she had used on Nicholas. They also found messages between her and her boyfriend, Adrian, discussing a robbery a few hours before it happened, where she said, "I'm gonna run away acting all scared." When the police talked to the man who had been carjacked in that case, he told them that he had been set up by the woman he met on Snapchat before 2 men robbed him at Alvarado Park. Police believed that his car was the one used in Nicholas's kidnapping case. It was later found abandoned the next morning with several rounds of ammunition and a mask still inside. A manhunt was launched for the 4 criminals, with Crime Stoppers even offering a reward of $2,500 for anyone with information that could lead to their arrest.
She may be smiling now, but 18-year-old Annabella Dukes is in a lot of legal trouble. So is the guy next to her, Adrian Avila. Both are wanted for multiple crimes, including the death of Elias Otero.
Please call Crime Stoppers. These people need to get off the streets. They are dangerous, and I don't want this to happen to any other families.
Elias's family was completely
He's a handsome
by the
man.
violent
Just
and
saying.
ruthless way their son died. And they called for the immediate arrest of the killers.
I'm just saying it in a nice way.
In December 2021, Annabella turned herself in after evading arrest for almost a year. She was charged with murder, kidnapping, 2 counts of armed robbery, and tampering with evidence. Her boyfriend Adrian
Man,
also
girl.
turned himself in around the same time.
Does her mother don't know about that?
Charges. It's still unclear who the other 2 kidnappers were and whether the police have identified them. Since Elias's death, his mom, Alicia, has been having meetings with other families who have lost their loved ones to violence, in hopes of stopping the violence or just having someone to lean on.
He went out there to go protect his brother, and he didn't even get a chance. He walked outside, and from my car and from the car that followed my car, they just opened fire. They shot my son 5 times. He didn't. I got there in 5 minutes. I watched my son die right in front of my face.
The city of Albuquerque, New Mexico has been experiencing a high rise of gun violence, with the year 2021 recording the highest number of 117 killings.
Wow.
And the saddest part is that
Crazy.
these crimes Alicia thinks that the reason why the number of victims is that high is because repeat violent offenders don't usually face serious consequences for their actions, and that they are always released on bail. That's why she has
That's
teamed
messed
up
up.
with some of the other moms who have also lost loved ones to form the New Mexico Crusade for Justice, which aims to push for tougher crime laws for repeat offenders.
I think we need stiffer punishments for juveniles. In a lot of these cases, the murderers are under 18 years old. They're getting guns and they're committing those crimes. And once they turn 21, they're let out.
Alicia said that her son's death has been a nightmare to everyone in the family, including Elias's fiance. They remember him as a caring and loving person who spent his whole life protecting others and died doing the same thing.
I'm not ready to go through all this stuff yet. He collected stuff like these. Everything and every aspect.
Michael Jordan's. That's a nice shoes. I will
She says
I
that
will
she hopes her
wear
son's
them
killers are locked
because
away
I do
for
wear
good
high
so
tops
that
too.
they
I'm a
don't get
high
chance
tops
to
type
hurt
girl.
someone else ever again.
I want the people who were involved, all of them, to be put in prison. I want them to stay there.
What do you think about
I'm
this case?
suffering.
Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.
Alright guys, I will see you in my last video, so I see you then.